So I am making this video as I go from stage 2 to stage 3 on my GTI. It's winter time, so that's usually when I have more time to install a few mods, and there's Black Friday recently now it's just the beginning of December, so I took advantage of a few sales and went through some money I had set aside for the final stage on this car, and I'm left with a huge pile of parts that I'm going to install over the coming weeks, one or two of which have not arrived yet. But I wanted to make a video basically just to walk through where the car sits with its stage 2 setup, and as I go to the next basically set of mods to take this car to the next level and probably the final level, until I decide to just stop spending money on the car and just put a deposit down on a new R. Doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of this car though, which is why I'm still spending money on it. I plan to keep this car and my next car, which is likely going to be a Mark 8R or maybe an S3. That will be in addition to this car. So just to recap, as I have the car set up right now, in terms of engine, I have a racing line intake, a Wagner intercooler, which you can't quite see, but you can see the silicone pipes down there. We've got the racing line intake, we've got the turbo inlet pipe, turbo muffler delete. And right now I actually have the stock downpipe on. I'm getting rid of and upgrading from my downpipe, but we'll get to that in a second. So I used to have an Ultimate Racing downpipe on there to the stock catback. And engine-wise, I can't remember what else I have, but I'll probably flash it up on the screen. And it obviously has full Unitronic Stage 2 software and any supporting mods that it requires. So I'll flash up what I have on the car on the screen as I remember it. Suspension-wise, it's set up with Bilstein B16, PSS 10s, SuperPro front camber mounts, an Eibach rear SwayBar, SuperPro rear Endlinks, and yeah, there might be a few other things suspension-wise too that I'm forgetting, but that's the quote-unquote stage 2 setup for the vehicle. So now we enter the stockpile of parts here. So I'm going to be doing a bit of maintenance, obviously, to handle the extra power, and a lot more engine mods and a few suspension mods just to fine tweak the vehicle. So the biggest thing is I've got an IS38 turbo from FCP Euro, so pretty hyped about that. I really wanted to go with the Garrett Power Max, but just there's a lot of controversy around those turbos, and some of the tuners with tunes out for them I either don't trust, or I'm ending up going for a custom tune, and you've just got so much money sunk into a tune for $1,300 US turbo that for minimal gains, when you consider all the extra money, that I decided, IS38, that's a good end of the line with the GTI, especially where I can get, lifetime replacement warranty on it. Engine-wise, I'm also doing a Fluidampr pulley. I'm doing Black Forest Industries trans mount and engine mount, which I've actually already installed. I'm getting a Trackslag catless downpipe. So from the Ultimate Racing 3-inch downpipe, we're going up to a 4-inch downpipe with no resonator and no catalytic converter. So it's going to sound pretty dirty. And I might work through that and end up adding a resonator, one of those vibrant resonators down the line. But I want to give catless a try. Fuck the environment, honestly. So, there's quicker spool times with the 4-inch pipes, and they didn't actually have any catted down pipes available from Trackslag. So at some point I may choose to weld in a cat, and also add a resonator, but that's down the line. We're going to work through that. So we've got the turbo, got the engine mounts, got the engine pulley. We're going to do also a bit of other maintenance too. So like the Haldex, front diff service, transmission fluid service, stuff like new diverter valve too, just to clean things up. And then also I'm going to be cleaning out the racing line air filter, since it's got about 20,000 kilometers on it. So that's about it engine wise. And that kind of brings us then into some of the suspension mods that will be coming up. So I'm going to be doing, minor fine tuning to the suspension. So what I have here is I have a racing line dead set kit, and I've got a bunch of bolts coming for that too. And those are all coming from Eibach because I'm cheap as fuck, and the dealer is super expensive for those stretch bolts. And I don't mind waiting. So I'm going to be installing the front and rear dead set kit. I already have a rear SwayBar, but I plan to also get a front SwayBar on order. And I may move away from Eibach, just where I kind of hate the bushings that come with the Eibach. I have to maintain them a lot. They squeak a lot. So I was looking at doing an H&R front and rear, 28 millimeter in the front, 26 millimeter in the rear SwayBars. It's made in Germany. And they have like a Teflon kind of bushing. And what I mean when I say bushing is, it's funny, I found it right away, but these bushings, I have an extra set too for my Eibach rear SwayBar, but they just create a lot of squeak after like 3 months of driving. So I end up having to take the SwayBar on and off all the time, just to not have to hear like a rubber duck when I go over speed bumps every once in a while. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing the dead set kit. I'm also thinking about either doing an Audi aluminum front subframe, or B, just an aluminum, or even the all-track skid plate. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the subframe yet. I will be dropping the subframe, so I'm even considering doing SuperPro front control arms as well, but all remains to be seen on, obviously what I can get in on what timeline, if it lines up with my free time to install this stuff, and if I'm willing to spend the money. I did have the car out at the track quite a few times this summer, so I really am excited to, get all this stuff on and have this thing set up as just a track weapon. And then the final thing is obviously the tune. So I'm on Unitronic right now, and I plan to stick with Unitronic just because I don't want to check engine light, and I'm not a fan of integrated engineering's tunes. They just don't seem very smooth, and it seems like they rush a lot of stuff through development. So I wanted to go EQT, but with that check engine light, with the catless downpipe, after all those cob changes, I'm inclined to stick with Unitronic, assuming they can ever get me a tune. Like, I've been going back and forth with them for almost a month. And it says that they support this car because it has the older Cymos ECU, but, and I'm a paying customer. I spent over $1,000 with them, but still, it's just, it's coming, blah, 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 which is frustrating, but I don't want to get the check engine light, and I'm already on their tune, and it's not like the IS38's on yet, so I haven't been willing to push them too hard yet, but who knows, I may end up swapping out to EQT if they don't get their shit together by the time I have the turbo on. And so yeah, that's my quote-unquote stage 3 setup. There may be a few other things in the pipeline too, minor small things that I'm not thinking of right now, but you'll be seeing a few videos come out, and I'm going to do all this gradually. So I'm going to, do the engine mounts, then do the crank pulley, then probably do the downpipe and turbo, that kind of thing. That way I kind of know, what mods are actually worth it, and B, if I have any problems, I'll be able to, rule it out based on initial feel. Obviously, if there are problems that come on down the line, I won't. But that way, if I do one mod at a time and I get a weird noise or whatnot, I'll be able to figure, well, I just installed that. That's the cause. So, yeah, that's basically where the GTI is at. I haven't made a lot of videos, but you will see some coming in the near future. And yeah, and at that point, I'll be doing try and do a review of everything I install, explain how I enjoyed it, and whether or not I think it's worth it, and how I feel about the car on stage 3, and then eventually we should be seeing an R at some point. It's just so hard to buy them that I'm continuing to spend money and have fun with this car until I can get a lead time that's, within 12 months. So yeah, thanks for watching. Definitely look forward to this huge pile of parts and counting, because obviously, new downpipe's not here yet. I don't have the new SwayBars on order yet, so those will be coming soon. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and the car is going to go from, daily driver that's super tame to a little bit on the edge where I'm losing a bit of that comfort, but now where I'm kind of close to the end of the line with this car and ready to retire it for daily use, I'm a little bit more willing to throw some of that kind of stuff on. So yeah, definitely stay tuned on the channel, and thanks for watching.